So first things first, like I talked about, I think before, try and decide how long you're going to spend on things. So, you know, I say like, oh, spend 3 minutes on the prompt, but you might not need that. 7 minutes annotating, but you might not need that. So just kind of go in with a mindset of how long you want to spend on everything. And obviously it might be really helpful to write a soapstone first, but if you don't have time with it, or if you don't want to waste time writing a soapstone, the most important thing is to identify claim. And try and identify claim as you're reading the prompt. So like make a hypothesis about what you think the argument is going to be before you even start reading the actual excerpt. So this is a really, really short one, but in theory, you'll have a longer passage. So this one says, the following passage is an essay by Edward Abbey about the Aravaipa Canyon in New Mexico. Read the passage carefully, then write an essay in which you characterize Abbey's attitudes toward nature and analyze how Abbey conveys these views. So right away, you should kind of think, like, do you think that this is going to have irony or sarcasm? Usually, if it's a topic like nature or something like that, they're probably not going to be ironic, but just be on the lookout and make sure that if you think there's going to be irony or sarcasm, you're looking for it. But I'm going to say that this probably is not going to be ironic. So characterize their attitude toward nature and how they convey their views. So right away, my brain is thinking claim. There's going to be an implicit claim and an explicit claim. So what is their attitude toward nature? Probably going to be something positive. They probably like it. They probably want to preserve it. That's going to be my hypothesis. And you should go into it with a hypothesis. Go into it what you think the claim is going to be. Then when it says how they convey their views, that's the rhetorical part. So what are they doing device-wise? So read, and you're going to take about 7 minutes to maybe annotate. And the whole time, the most helpful thing to do might be to think about dividing the passage. So obviously I picked a short one for this, but think about dividing the passage into beginning, middle, and end. So think about how you can split it up into 3. And just try it visually before you start reading. So I looked at this passage, and it looks like the first paragraph, because it starts once years before. That looks like it's going to be a setting up thing, so I want that to be separate. Then I had this big middle passage, and I separated the end because I see the first quotation is in that bottom section. So just visually for myself, I'm splitting it up, because when I'm going to start writing about devices, it might be really easy to write a chronological essay. First, he does this, then he does this, then he does this. And that's the easiest way to attack a passage. Obviously, as you're reading, you might be like, oh, shoot, I should have moved it up and down. That's totally fine. You're just trying to give yourself a good idea. And if there's a shift in tone or in argument, you definitely want to talk about that. And most likely, that will occur towards the end of the passage. So, once, years before, I had glimpsed a mountain lion in this canyon, following me through the twilight. It was the only mountain I had ever seen so far in the wild. I stopped, the big cat stopped, and we peered at each other through the gloom. Mutual curiosity. I felt more wonder than fear. After a minute, or perhaps it was 5 minutes, I made a move to turn. The lion leaped into the rocks and melted away. So right away, I'm not seeing an argument, right? So if I'm thinking about what must his attitude be about nature, he's starting us off with an anecdote. This is a personal story that happened to him, and he's going somewhere with it. So I'm going to make a mental note that what's his first device that he's using here? He's not using specific evidence. He's not using facts or data. He's using an anecdote to build an emotional response in his reader. So we're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is the mountain lion going to come back? Is it going to hurt him? What's going on? So this mutual curiosity he talks about is also drawing in a curiosity from the audience. So I'm seeing anecdote, I'm seeing emotion. So that's what I'm definitely going to talk about for the beginning of the passage. We see no mountain lions this evening. Okay, passage of time. So there's a time jump going on here. Nor any of the local deer, either Sonoran whitetail or the desert mule deer, although the little heart-shaped tracks of the former are apparent in the sand. Javelina or peccary too reside in the area, pig-like animals with tusks, oversized heads, and tapering bodies. Okay, really descriptive. He's getting real descriptive. They roam the slopes and gulches in family bands, living on roots, tubers, and innards of barrel cactus, on grubs, insects, and carrion. Omnivorous like us, and equally playful, if not so dangerous. Any desert canyon with permanent water, like the Aravaipa, will be as full of life as it is beautiful. We stumble homeward over the stones and through the ankle bone-chilling water. The winter day seems alarmingly short. It is. I'm noticing some interesting punctuation too. We reach the mouth of the canyon and the old trail uphill to the roadhead in time to see the first stars come out, barely in time. Nightfall is quick in this arid climate and the air feels already cold. But we have earned enough memories, stored enough mental, emotional images in our heads from one brief day in the Aravaipa Canyon to enrich the urban days to come. As Thoreau, allusion, he's referencing Thoreau, found a universe in the woods around Concord, any person whose senses are alive can make a world of any natural place, however limited it may seem, on this subtle world of ours. So this seems like he's making some sort of claim here. This is a little bit different in the middle passage. We're getting almost like a literary scientific blend here. He's being really specific in the types of animals, so he seems well read and educated. So the tone moves from just like a passing anecdote to now we're getting really well-informed research information. We're getting lots of commas and semicolons. He's giving us lots of facts. So we're getting kind of a shift in tone, not so personal. It's a little bit more removed. It's more scientific. And we're getting an allusion. He references Thoreau. So we know that he's talking about transcendentalism, this connection with nature. So he's sort of going in a long line of connecting to nature. And then he makes some sort of claim here. Any person who has senses can make a world of any natural place. You can make a world in a natural place. Interesting. Last section. The world is big, but it is comprehensible, says R. Buckminster Fuller. Obviously, I don't know who that is, but he's referencing some guy, so he must be important. But it seems to me that the world is not merely big enough, and that any portion of its surface left unpaved and alive is infinitely rich in details and relationships, in wonder, beauty, mystery, comprehensible only in part. The very existence of existence is itself suggestive of the unknown. Not a problem, but a mystery. We will never get to the end of it, never plumb the bottom of it, and never know the whole of even so small and trivial and useless and precious a place as the Aravaipa. Therein lies our redemption. So, what is he actually trying to say? He is saying something about his attitude towards nature, but it seems like we really get his actual claim here. Edward Abbey believes that nature is so mysterious and beautiful, we will never understand it completely. So see that middle section where he's giving us all that scientific information. He's telling us that no matter how much we know of it, no matter how much we think that we understand it, the world is so big, we will never truly know it. And that's what he's doing here when he says this, but. So he quotes some guy who says, the world's big but comprehensible. We can understand it. And then he goes, but it seems to me it's not. So my claim that I might come up here is, okay, what is he arguing? Even though others like Thoreau and Fuller may think they understand the world around them, really, the world is so large and mysterious, we will never truly understand it. That's really what his claim is. And the implicit claim is, it's okay. It's okay if we don't understand it. It can be so small and trivial and useless and precious. And it's okay. We don't have to understand it. So that's what I'm going, my first thing, I'm trying to think, what's his claim and how can I build that counterclaim? So the counterclaim really here is, although other people have one idea, he disagrees. So that's what I'm going to go with for the claim. Now I'm thinking, okay, what's he doing rhetorically? I'm going to stick with the anecdote here. I'm going to stick with the scientific information here. And then I'm going to talk about here how even though we have personal experiences, even though we have scientific information, really what's going on is we understand very little of it. So that shift is really important because that's how he's building his argument. Boom, boom, and then flipping it over, bam, something else. So claim, what devices is he using, or rhetorical techniques? Because think about it, I'm not even thinking anything specific here with that middle paragraph. I'm just saying he's using scientific language. That's fine. And then kind of think about, as you get to the end of your essay, so you've got your claim, you've got the devices and how they build to that final claim. And then think about, is it effective? Does he make an effective argument? If you aren't convinced, I'd suggest pretending you are, because it makes an easier essay. So it is effective because he gives us such a personal connection. And, you know, if we are someone who's also had a personal connection with nature, we understand the argument he's trying to make. Okay, that would be just, that's just a rundown of how I would approach doing any kind of really quick annotating on an essay like this. As you can see, I basically was just like pulling things pew, 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 really quickly. And I didn't even write a soapstone, which you totally could if you're like trying to get your thoughts together of what's going on. And that didn't really take me very long. That probably did take me about 10 minutes total to do the prompt and do all the annotating. So then I would write the claim and start writing the paragraphs. Most important thing to remember is embed your evidence. Embed your evidence. So if you're gonna quote something, Abby felt more wonder than fear when confronting the mountain lion. Make sure your quote is embedded into the sentence like that. Don't try not to put it separately. You know, quote, this states, don't do that. Make sure you practice that embedding. Okay. I mean, that was just my quick little rundown reminder of how to approach it. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns?
I was going to ask if you knew if we were still writing 3 essays or just 1 essay.
No, of course one. Just like all the other exams. They're short, everything's a shortened exam. The only thing you are doing is rhetorical analysis.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing you're gonna do. So you'll get an essay and then you need to basically say, what is that author's argument? That's all you're doing.
Okay.
No personal argument, no synthesis, just rhetorical analysis.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's all the questions I had. Oh, that was the only question I really had.
Okay.
All right.
I'm hoping that you knew it was rhetorical analysis.
I didn't, so that's good.
Okay. Okay, well, you know, unless you have any other, you know, worries or anything, and otherwise I'm just